Hello everyone, my name is Nathan. I want to tell you about a story that happened to me recently. Don't be surprised by my appearance. Yes, I'm wearing a tuxedo right now, and there is a reason for this. Something terrible had happened a minute before my fiancée came out. Anyway, I ran away. Oh, before you call me a jerk and a traitor, just listen to my story and then judge, okay? Girls, this especially concerns you. And also, I'm waiting for your comments. Just write your opinion below the video. I'd like to know what you think. In general, I had a girlfriend, Agnes. She was so pretty and had a hot body and curvy blonde hairs. Like me, she is from a wealthy family. Therefore, she was not interested in money. It would have been better though. Agnes and I met for about a year. Not because I wanted. The first 6 months it was cool, interesting, but gradually I got tired of her endless need for attention. There are girls who stick like mites and do not lag behind. My girl is from this kind. Sure, she lured me out of my diamond ring, but it's not even about shopping. Guys, admit it. Which one of you had this? What did you do and how did you manage? To make it clear to you, Agnes mercilessly texted me, sent me her photos, and made me send my photos in return. Every time I woke up, there was a message from her, my beloved. Good morning, how are you? And if I didn't answer for 10 minutes, she would call. Since I didn't answer the phone just out of curiosity, I was curious to know how long it would last. Agnes called me 89 times. 89 times, guys. I'm not kidding. And then the doorbell rang. She came to my house. What are you doing here? Well, you didn't answer to my messages or pick up the phone, so I thought maybe something had happened. Oh my God, Agnes, you and I were on a date yesterday evening, and you brought me home in person and walked me to the door. What could have happened to me in my own home? How do I know? You're not picking up the phone. Did you fall in the bathroom? I wish I'd fallen. What? Don't say that. Do you want to die? No, I didn't mean that. So you'd rather die than being with me? So what? Tell me, are you cheating on me? God, Agnes, what are you talking about? You didn't answer, so yes. She immediately began to cry. 12 a.m. We're standing on my doorstep and Agnes is blowing bubbles out of her snot. It couldn't be worse, could it? My mum came out and I said it was okay. I had to put my arms around her and kiss her to calm her down. That's the kind of relationship we had. Do you want to know if I cheated on her? No, but I did have one flirt after all. It was Agnes's birthday and she was expecting a bouquet of 1,000 white roses from me. I ordered and came to pick it up at the flower shop where I was served by a very nice girl. Her name was Mila. Yeah, I flirted with her a little, yeah. I took her number, said that the bouquet was for my mother and promised to call. But as soon as I entered Agnes's room with the flowers, I didn't expect such a reaction. What is Mila? Who is she? What? How are you anyway? Were you following me? Who is she? Agnes, nothing happened. Let's not ruin your day. You've already ruined it. Remember, Nathan, you are mine and mine alone. And you belong only to me. Do you understand me? What? I'm actually a person, not a thing. Anyway, after a long fight, I said I can't live in a relationship anymore where I couldn't even take a shit without Agnes knowing, and I went home. She still followed me for a while, but I wasn't going to talk to her anymore. 2 months later, I went camping with some friends. We decided to relax in the mountains, and there, by chance, I met Mila. It was fun. We got to know each other better, introduced friends, and had a rest together. I can't remember the last time I felt so good and free. A week later, we started dating. She was an amazing girl, but most importantly, not intrusive. 6 months later, I proposed to her, being sure that I wanted to marry her. Mila accepted my marriage proposal, but she disappeared after. I called, texted, visited, but she was gone. Finally, she showed up 3 days later. Where have you been? Sorry, urgent business. I forgot my phone at home and I couldn't remember yours. That's all she said, but I believed her. We had a lot of work ahead of us preparing for the wedding and everything related to it. I chose a suit and Mila chose a dress. She started acting a little weird after she got home. Mila, is everything okay? Of course, my love. What about you? My love? You've never called me my love before. Ugh, pre-wedding rush, right? We prepared like crazy, although Mila's behavior was a little weird. I asked some questions from past conversation and she always said she'd forgotten. She became very nervous and blamed everything on the wedding rush. Mila came up to me the day before our wedding, looked into my eyes and smiled. I recognized something painfully familiar in that smile. Those dimples that she hadn't had before, they were only at... No, what does Agnes have to do with it? She's been gone a long time, right? So I thought to myself, and then she suggested having breakfast at my house. I noticed a ring that I gave to Agnes once. It was very similar, and I asked where Mila got it from. It's old. Haven't you seen it? My mother gave it to me. Mila fussed, and I suddenly began to understand something. I asked her to make me some bacon and eggs and make me a coffee. I sat and watched. Mila, how was your work? You haven't told me about it for a long time. Yes, work is like work. You know, my head is full of other things right now. Thank you for the breakfast. It looks delicious. Thank you, my love. Enjoy it. Agnes? Yes, my love. I knew it. It's you. It's you. Agnes was confused. She didn't know what to hold on to, and she was alarmed. Her hands were shaking, and I got up from the table. The only thing she asked was how I guessed. Your behavior, the ring I gave to you, and also, Mila hasn't worked at the florist in a long time, and she's never been to my house. And you know where the dishes and groceries are, and what kind of coffee to make for me. Only one girl knew that. It was you, Agnes, I shouted. Agnes was standing in front of me with Mila's face. At first she was afraid, and then she just calmed down. I felt like I was losing consciousness. What did you do to me? I managed to ask before I fell. I don't remember how long it took me to wake up, but I was already sitting in a white room in a tailcoat, and I could hear the voices of the guests. I started banging on the closed door, and Mila came in. She smiled and said that everything was ready. Where's Mila? What did you do to her? I shouted at her, and she told me nonsense about her feelings, that we were going to get married and everything would be fine. But I didn't want to listen to her. I took my hands off and moved away. At some point she freaked out and began to pull off her mask. It was the real Agnes, only with a crazy look in her eyes. It was even creepy. Where's Mila? You won't see her again. What did you do to her? I stole her life, just like she stole it from me. You're just crazy. Love, I get what I want. What did you think, that you can just get rid of me so easily? You think I didn't realize that you had a crush on her? I've been tracking your every move, tracking your dates. Not always, but I did. And now that I found out about your proposal, I couldn't let you get married. Then we were called into the hall. Agnes put on a Mila mask and said that we would talk later. And as soon as the door opened, I ran as fast as I could. Agnes was running after me, screaming, yelling, and I didn't even turn around. I wanted to be away from this crazy woman. The whole horror was like a bad dream, dizzy. I remember Agnes's last words before the knock on the door. Mila is dead. I took her face. Are you satisfied? I got goosebumps on my skin again, and then a sharp nausea. Young man, can you hear me? Huh? What? You ordered flowers, white roses, 1,000 of them. Will you take something else? Yes. I've got this whole story in my head because of Agnes's jealousy. I didn't want that cute girl from the flower shop to die because of me, so I thought it through. Anyway, I'm too young to get married. I'll go to Agnes's birthday party and then I'll leave her in a week. And fuck it. Right, guys? Tell me, did you guys like my story?
Hello everyone. I'm Glenn. Probably many of you know the game Among Us. So I played a little bit and stuck a little bit to the point that I wanted to play it in life. You know, how strange it was in general and how scared my relatives and friends were. I slowly and surely confused reality, so I almost lost myself. If you don't know about this game yet, I can tell you briefly about it. In short, this is for fans of easy and simple to play. Personally, I was lured by the game theme of space. There is an obscenely simple design, graphics, and everything so clear and beautiful. This game has its own spaceship with astronauts, among which there are also evil characters. Fake. So there is a struggle between good and evil, in which everyone wants to win. Enemies are not so easy to identify, you just need to be careful. At the same time, you need to perform light tasks. They served as an anti-stress type for me. It really relaxed me, especially after a hard day of school. Oh, and I forgot to mention that the game is purely online, and people there can play strangers. So figs, guess who is who? Well, if you look closely, only then. So once I tried to play a game, and at the same time participate in a challenge. There you had to play without lights. It was quite difficult and exciting. As soon as we started playing, we found a dead body. This led to such a dead end. How now to guess where the maniac is? In parallel, I was completing tasks, and my brain was exploding, and I thought, who can be an imposter? Like many of my team, we made the decision not to expel anyone. I wandered towards the reactor, and I kept thinking that I was going to be killed. But for a while I lived like this. You know, playing in the dark is really creepy. I offered my options about who might be an imposter, but there was little support for me. I, by the way, was also nominated, but in the end we chose a person, and everyone voted for him, and he turned out to be an ordinary astronaut. In short, the game was hot. I did not understand how much time I sit on the internet and think and think. That day was the night I was playing. I have to go to school in the morning, and I'm so stuck that I barely slept. In short, I passed out somewhere in the morning. Maybe it was already 5 hours. Just so you know, I should be up by 6:30. In general, I was like a zombie, quickly dressed, washed, and went to school. I spent some time in class. I don't remember exactly how I wrote down the tasks. I came home and promised myself to go to bed early and got stuck in the game again. Here we are again with the guys in the same team. I am an ordinary astronaut, looking for a maniac, but I do not find it. We lost 10 times in a row. It was starting to make me angry. Unbeknownst to me, when the battery on my phone had already run out, I saw that it was dawn outside the window. Damn it, morning again. I was angry and tired, but there was nothing I could do. So I changed my clothes, washed, ate, and went to school. On the second day without sleep, my eyes turned red like my spacesuit in the game. I didn't really understand what was happening and did some things on the machine. For example, opening a notebook. I fell asleep at recess, in class, at lunch. My friends would wake me up, but I couldn't wake up. As soon as I got home, I was stuck in the game again. Gradually, reality and the game got mixed up in my head, and I began to look at my friends through the prism of the game. You'll find it funny at first, until I'm not peekaboo at all. Well, listen to what happened next. I remember opening my eyes when I was sitting at my desk. Math class was in progress. The teacher called me to the blackboard. I went out, solved the problems as in a game, sat down and stared at the children. I even began to suspect the teacher. It seemed to me that she might be a maniac. It's not something that she said something about my academic performance. I think she just wanted to extinguish me, set me up so that everyone would think that I was a maniac. But no, this is not going to happen. I got up from my seat, went to her, and told the class that she was an imposter. Vote, I shouted. The guys looked at me like I was crazy. I didn't understand why they were all silent. I started calling everyone by their first names, and then Scarlett was like, "Are you alright?" And then I realized that she was in on it. I told the guys that now, if they all boil, in a second we will have 2 more corpses. But the teacher suddenly got up and started yelling at me. Like, what am I talking about? What other 2 corpses? She took me by the hand and led me to the staff room to meet with the principal. I resisted as much as I could. On the way, I shouted that she was a maniac and that now the guys would quickly defeat her. She was literally dragging me down the hall, and I was yelling that someone was going to die. I was locked in an office. I tried to get to the reactor there, shouted to be given tasks. I am ready to complete them. I don't know how long it's been since I was locked up, but I'm sweating, tired, and hungry. Then the door opened and I was ready, and my mother came in. I asked, "Do you play too?" My mother did not answer me. She only began to cry violently, and her tears seemed to awaken me. I suddenly woke up, looked around, and realized that I was at school. I saw that I was surrounded by teachers, the principal, and my mother was standing next to me, crying. Then the nurse came running, and I felt so tired. I wanted to sit down. I sat down on the floor and told my mother that I wanted to go home and eat and sleep. They took me to the hospital and checked me out. The psychologist said that I just played too much and asked my parents to control my playing time more. I came to my senses only a day later. I slept stupidly in the hospital. I slept off. I was watched. I had a great depleted body during these days, and I could even die, and not in the game, but for real. In short, guys, what I want to say, games, such a thing, very easily can master you and then do not let go for a long time. So if you are still gamers, then at least eat and sleep. Otherwise, everything will end up like mine. Also, don't forget to tell me in the comments what are your favorite games and how many hours in a row you played it. Write your opinion about my story, share it with your friends, do not spare likes, and subscribe to the channel.